thinking is plus to that.
Hello, students. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon to all of you. Once again, we are here to discuss about business environment law. Okay, and now only 39 students. So let us wait for 2 to 3 minutes. Let others join. We'll start our class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Last class, what we were discussing. Anyone do you remember? Let me share my PPT also. Can you see the PPT now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
We'll wait for 2 minutes. Let others join. So till now, any doubt, anything you have not understood, or anything you want to clarify regarding a law of contract and company law also, if anything is there, to discuss about what is company, what are the different characteristics of company. Then we have also discussed what are the documents to be submitted to the register office for registration of a company, what is memorandum of association, what is article of association, what is ultra virus, what is doctrine of indoor meeting, doctrine of indoor management, lifting the corporate well. All this we have discussed, and these are all the important questions also, examination point of view. I hope you must have gone through your study material by this time, isn't it? Still, if you have any doubt, we can, one second, we can discuss. Today and tomorrow is the last day. So we'll try to complete our syllabus by tomorrow. Shall we start now? Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. Do you remember where we were in last class? I hope we were discussing about distinction between public and private company. What is public company? What is a private company? What are the differences? So once again, we'll discuss what are the distinction between public and private company. Uh, you can see on the basis of membership, what is minimum number of members. In case of public company, 7 members are required, whereas minimum number of members required for private company, 2 members. Maximum limitation of member in case of public company, there is unlimited members can be, but in case of private company, maximum 200 members are allowed. So in case of issue of prospectus, a public company can issue a public share. While issuing a public share, what they do normally, prospectus is to be, as per the company law, prospectus is to be issued so that public can, who are interested to invest in your company, they will be able to know about the company and they can take their decision. So which is mandatory in case of public company. But in case of private company, as there was no public share, so in that case, cannot issue prospectus. Similarly, in case of commencement of business, in case of public company, after getting the certificate of commencement, they can start functioning of the company. But in case of, they can start their business. In case of private company, after getting certificate of incorporation, when they get the certificate of incorporation, they can start their function or business. But in case of public company, they cannot start by merely getting a certificate of incorporation. They have to wait for the certificate of commencement. They need to get the certificate of commencement because they need to have share from the, they must have asked public to invest share. Until unless they gather that much capital, they cannot start the business. After getting the capital, the certificate will be issued for commencement. They can public company can start their business. But in case of private company, immediately after getting the incorporation certificate, when they register the company, their memorandum of association, article association, all fee, whatever required, they have paid, then they will be issuing certificate of incorporation, then immediately they can start. But public company cannot until unless he gets the certificate of commencement, they cannot. Similarly, in case additional word, in case of public company, you need to write limited company. But in case of private company, you need to write after the end of the name, like you can so and so private limited company, you need to write. But in case of public company, limited company to be written. In case of transferability of share, it is in case of public company, it is freely transferable. But in case of private company, it is not transferable, because in case of public company, you have asked for public share. But in case of private company, there is no such provision. Similarly, statutory meeting and report. In case of public company, to be submitted to the register of the company, statutory meeting, which is the first meeting, compulsory meeting, is to be the minutes should be submitted to the register of the company. And in case of private company, need not to be convened such kind of meeting. And number of director in public company can be 3 directors. In case of private company, 2 directors. A written consent of the director in case of public company required to be written consent required to be given to act as director. You need to give the written consent that I am willing to act as a director. Consent is to be given to the register of the company. But in case of private company, not required. In case of public company, appointment of director separate for each director. For appointment of each director, separate meeting is to be, dissolution has to be passed. But in case of private company, 2 or more directors can be appointed once. Okay, these are the several difference between public and private. Now, share and share capital. As per the section 284, a share is defined as a share is a share capital of a company and includes stock. In case of share, it is a share capital of a company and it includes stock. What is stock? A number of share. Number of paid share are called as stock. It is stock is also coming under share. A share signifies the following. What are those? The interest of a shareholder in the company. What is the interest of the shareholder company? The right to receive dividend. Shareholder company has the right to receive dividend from the profit earned by the company. And they have the right to attend meetings, vote at the meeting, and share in the surplus asset of the company. These shareholders, they can attend meeting, they can vote, they have the voting right, and they share the surplus asset of the company, if any, in the event of the company being wound up. When the company is wound up, liquidation is made by the company, or company is to be wound out by the order of government, or legally if there is order is issued for the winding of a company due to the shortfall of any of the mandatory requirement. In that case, the additional surplus asset, if left over, they have the right to share it. The liability of the shareholder in the company to pay calls on shares until fully paid up. If the members, they have not fully paid up their share, so whatever leftover amount they are supposed to pay. The right of the shareholder to transfer the shares subject to the articles of association. The right of the shareholder, what is it? To transfer the share subjected to the article of association. If it is mentioned in the article of association that right shareholder can transfer his share, then in that case, if it is possible. If it is not mentioned in the article of association, then it will not be possible. Because shareholder, this article of association is the internal bylaws which is mentioned regarding all of these things. Binding convenience and the part of the company as well as shareholder as given in the articles of the company. That means whatever it is mentioned in the article of the company, all the rules and regulations is binding to the shareholder. They have to follow those. Thus, a shareholder of a company in the hands of shareholder signifies a bundle of rights and obligations. A share is not a negotiable instrument. Like they have the bundle of rights, and shareholders, they have certain rights and certain responsibility also towards the company. And similarly, share is not a negotiable instrument. Like, what are the negotiable instrument? Anyone can say? What are the negotiable instruments?
Which can be transferred.
Sorry?
Which can be transferred or sold like that.
What is that? You tell me the which are called as negotiable instrument. We have already discussed earlier.
Like share debentures and all.
Share debentures.
Shares, debentures,
Okay.
and negotiable, even check and all. Check,
Check.
draft.
Discuss like check, promissory note.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Promissory note, bill of exchange, check. We have discussed already.
Request for proposal, is that a negotiable thing, sir? Negotiable instrument?
No, that is not a negotiable. That is coming under request of proposal. What is that?
Like if we want to start a business,
Okay.
so we prepare a proposal kind of thing.
No,
We present it.
that is not negotiable instrument. Negotiable instrument where you, like promissory note, I promise to pay so and so this much amount to the holder. That will be printed in that negotiable promissory note. So when he produce that one, you are supposed to get the money. Okay. Similarly, in bill of exchange.
So, sir, like when I say request for proposal, that is the proposal in which there would be clauses as to what are the benefits which we would be providing to the client. So, and that if the client agrees to that, we can sign up that contract. If not, then there is a room for negotiation. So that is the reason I wanted to ask if it is.
No. That is coming under different. That's a contract act that. Like agreement, acceptance, that is coming under that one. You are proposing something, he is accepting, that is coming under contract act. This is coming under negotiable instrument act. This bill of exchange, promissory note, check, where the financial transaction like check, when you are submitting the check, you have to pay money. Similarly, promissory note, you have to get back money. Similarly, bill of exchange, this is the financial transaction. So that is proposal is different. Here this is for financial transaction. What are the instrument is used? Okay. Is it clear to you?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now share is we are discussing about share and share capital. Share is a share capital of a company at input stock, because many number of people they are investing their money as a share, and the paid up share when joined together it becomes stock. Here share signifies the acronym means the right to receive dividend. All the shareholders they have the right to receive dividend, and they have the right to attend meeting. But debenture holders they don't have right to attend meeting. Vote of meeting and shares in the surplus asset of the company, if any, the event of the company being owned up. We'll discuss about debenture holder. The liability of the shareholder in the company to pay calls on share until fully paid up. Until it is fully paid up, they have the liability to pay. The right of the shareholder to transfer the share subjected to the article of association. Whatever, whether if it is mentioned in the article of association, then it can be easily transferable. Binding, it is all the rules and regulation, whatever mentioned in the article of association is binding to all the members. So shareholders have the liability as well as they have the right. What is the stock? The term stock may be defined as the aggregate and fully paid up shares of a member merged into one fund of equal values. That means the different people they are applying for the fund. Suppose someone has 100 number of shares. If he is completely paid up for 100 number share, whatever amount it is, then that will be considered. That similarly, number of shares can be fully paid up share when joined together can be a stock. The stock is expressed in terms of money and not as many shares. Stock can be divided into function of any amount, and such fractions may be transferred like shares. It can be because it is fully paid up, so it can be fraction. But whereas share cannot be fraction, like it can be sold, but it cannot be transferable like this, like stock. Is it clear? Difference between stock we'll discuss now. What are the differences between share and stock? A share has a nominal value, because in share certificate, suppose per share value is 10 rupee. So 100 number of shares, that means 1000 rupee. It has got nominal value. A stock has no nominal value. Stock has no nominal value because some shares are 10 rupee, which is 100 shares 1000 rupee. Some share may be different companies, different person share maybe 200, which is 2000 rupee. So it has share has nominal value, but stock has no nominal value because different amount of shares are joined together. So you cannot say it is a nominal value. It has nominal value, but different values for different shares. So when it joins together, it becomes stock. A share has a distinctive numbers which distinguish it from the other share, because share can be, you can say 100 shares, 200 shares, 500 shares, like this distinctive value. A stock bears no such number, because stock is again consisting of all these shares. 100 shares, 200 shares, 500 shares, 1000 shares, all it comes under the stock. So a stock bears no such number. Share can be issued originally to the public. Share can be issued to the public. A company cannot make an original issue of stock. Stock can be issued by existing company by converting it to fully paid up shares. Like share can be issued originally to the public. Stock you cannot issue because stock is the different number of shares. So when it is separated by the fully paid up shares can be issued. A share may either be fully paid up or partly paid up. But in case of stock, stock never be partly paid up. It has to be only fully paid up. Then it will consider under the stock. It is always fully paid up. A share cannot be transferred in the fractions, because it cannot be transferred in the fraction in the sense, suppose 100 number of shares, you cannot transfer 10 number of shares or 15 number of shares, because it has the nominal value and 100 number total number of shares. If you are transferring completely 100 number has to be transferred. A stock may be transferred in any fraction, because
in that case, is it not conflicting with the above sentence? A share may either be fully paid up or partly paid up. Now
yes,
we say that it cannot be transferred in fractions.
yes. So what is the doubt in that?
I got confused with both these sentences.
Which one? Tell me once again.
Point number 4 and 5.
A share may either fully paid up or partly paid up. This point?
Yes.
Yeah, share when it is partly paid up, your responsibility until unless it is fully paid up, it cannot be converted into the, it cannot consider into the stock. It is share whether partly or fully paid up. But a stock can never be partly paid up, because when the share is fully paid up, that will come under the stock. So partly paid up cannot be considered under the stock. So there is no question of partly paid up in case of stock. Is it okay?
So in point number 5, sir, we say the share cannot be transferred in fractions.
Yeah, a share cannot be transferred in fraction. It is transferred as a whole. For example, you are holding 100 numbers of shares, right? You cannot transfer 10 numbers of shares to other person. You have to transfer full 100 shares to the 100 number of shares certificate in the name of others.
Okay.
A stock may be transferred in any fraction because stock is the fully paid up shares. So it may be 100 number fully paid up share, 500 number fully paid up share, or 1000 paid up share. So 100 number paid up share can be transferred because it groups of paid fully paid up shares. Is it clear? Hello?
I would have to explore it more, sir. We can proceed. Thank you.
No, if any doubt, again you can ask me, because share is the, when it is fully paid up, then it will go to stock. Stock, in case of stock, the number of fully paid up shares are stock. So out of 100 numbers of shares together, it becomes a stock. Then one number or two number for the particular shares can be transferred out of the stocks. So in fraction, you can do that. But in case of share, you cannot make it fraction.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Still, you can go through, and if you need out, tomorrow we can discuss once again. Okay.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All the shares of equal denomination. Because suppose you are holding 100 shares, all shares will be 10 rupees shares or 15 rupees share or 50 rupees. All the shares will be same number. But in case of stock, as I told you, there are different types of shares. 100 number paid of shares, 500 number paid of shares, which is 20 rupee each. It will be different nomination. Because certificate will be, some share will be, if it is 100 number of shares for an individual, it is 1,000 rupee. If it is 200 number of shares, 2,000 rupee. 500 number is 5,000. All joints together becomes a stock. So it is of different denomination. 1,000 rupee, 5,000 rupee, 2,000. But in case of share, it is all the shares are of equal denomination. If he is holding 100 shares, all the shares are containing each share 10 rupee. So 100 share 1,000 rupee. So all the numbers will be same, 10, 10 each. Okay. Now let us see about debenture. According to section 230, debenture includes debenture stock, bonds, or any other instrument of a company evidencing a debt, whether constituting a charge on the asset of the company or not. Unlike share, debenture is not like that. Debenture is like you can say, loan given to the company, or company has taken debt from individual, whether constitute a change on the asset of the company or not. Whether it is changing the asset of the company or not, it doesn't matter. But debenture includes debenture stock. Again, debenture stock, group of debentures, when joined together, it becomes a debenture stock. Like stock, when group of shares joined together, it becomes a stock. Similarly, debenture stock, group of debentures. Bonds or any instrument of a company evidencing a debt. Here, debt, company is taking debt from the loan from the members. What are the characteristics of a debenture? Debenture is issued by a company, and it is usually in the form of a certificate, which is an acknowledgement of indebtedness. Company acknowledge that I have taken this much amount of loan or from so and so individual. They will issue a certificate, and they will give you the date, and so year it will be, after 2 years or 3 years it will be paid, and with this much of interest, or terms and conditions it will be mentioned. It is issued under the company's seal. Again, because it is one of the essential features of the company, it has its own seal. So company's name, company is a legal person, so under the company's seal it will be issued. It is one of the series issued to the number of lenders. One of the series in the sense, whether it is made 10 rupee, 1,000 rupee, 2,000 rupee, 500, different series of debt will be there. So it is one of the series issued to a number of lenders. It usually specifies a particular period or date as the date of repayment. As I told you, it will be mentioned that when it is to be repaid to the individual with how much interest. It generally creates a charge on the undertaking of the company or same parts of its property. It creates a charge on the undertaking of the company or some parts of its property. This debenture constitutes part of the property. A debenture holder does not have any right to vote in the company meeting. Like as I told you, shareholder has the right to vote in the meeting, but debenture holder doesn't have any right to vote in the meeting. Now let us see company meeting. So meeting is a very important part of company. A meeting may be generally defined as a gathering or assembly, getting together, or a number of persons for transacting any lawful business. What you are doing? You are transacting about the lawful business in the sense regarding your company. You are making a meeting. There must be at least 2 persons to constitute a meeting. At least minimum member 2 must be there to constitute a meeting. In certain exceptional cases, even 1 person may constitute a valid meeting. So, as a company, the new companies law 2013 based on that, single man company is there. So in certain exceptional case, even one person may constitute a valid meeting. The company meeting must be convened and held in perfect compliance with the applicable provisions of the Company Act 2013 and rules from thereunder. As per the rules for the Company Act 2013, whatever provisions are there, you need to conduct the meeting as per that one. What are the different kinds of meeting? Company meeting may be classified as shareholders meeting. What is the shareholders meeting? For them, annual general meeting, extraordinary general meeting, and class meeting. Annual general meeting means every year you have to conduct the meeting. Extraordinary general meeting in case of any emergency you can conduct meeting. Class meeting means in the sense in case of different class of shareholders you can make meeting. Next is board meeting. Board meeting in the meeting of the committee of the board, meeting of the debenture holders, meeting of the creditors, meeting of the contributors in winding up. These are the different kinds of meeting. In detail, you can go through your study material because we will not be able to complete if you go in detail again. So now, one more important aspect is what are the duties of directors? So duties of director may be divided into two hands. One is statutory duties, another is general duties. What are the statutory duties? To file return of allotments. Return of allotments, it is to be filed to the register of the company. To disclose interest, what is the interest of the director? He has to disclose it. To disclose receipt from transfer of property. To disclose compensation from the transfer of shares, duty to attend board meeting, to convene annual general meeting, to prepare and place financial statement at the AGM, to make declaration of solvency in case of voluntary winding off of the company. These are the different statutory duties of the director. And what are the general duties of good faith, duty of care, duty not to delegate. These are the different duties of directors. Next, what are the liabilities of director? The liabilities of a director to a company may be considered under the heads like liability to the company, ultra virus, negligence, and malified acts. If the director is involved in ultra virus, what is ultra virus? Anyone? We have discussed a lot about ultra virus. Can anyone say what is ultra virus? Doctrine of ultra virus comes under what? Under article of association or memorandum of association? Memorandum of association. What is ultra virus? What are the object clause in memorandum of association? If you are going beyond that, you are doing a business beyond that, it will be called as ultra virus. Beyond your power, whatever object is mentioned in memorandum of association, if you are violating that one or beyond that power, if you are doing, it is called as ultra virus. In that case, yes. In that case, if director is doing the ultra virus, then he will be held responsible. And negligence and malified acts. If he does, he negligent something wrong and some malified acts he does, then he will be held responsible to the company. Liability to the third parties. If he does any wrong with or any malified activity with the third parties who are dealing with the company, that in that case, he will be held responsible to the third party. Liability to the breach of statutory duties. What are the statutory duties? Just now we read about different statutory duties of director. Here you can see some 8 to 10 duties we have mentioned here. To file to return allotment, disclose interest, all these duties, attend board of meeting. If he is breaches of this statutory duties, then he will be held responsible. Liability for acts of that one criminal liabilities. He has the liability for the criminal case can be filed against the director. Next important thing is winding of a company. Winding up of a company is the process whereby its life is ended. When company's life is ended, it will be called as winding of a company, and the property administered for the benefit of the creditors and members. What will be done once a company is winded up? Then the property of the company, there will be a liquidator who will be appointed by the register of the company or government. What they will do, they will assess the asset of the company, and in that case, as per the liability wise, they will pay them first, like debenture holders who has given loan to the company. Once everything is over, then it will come to the shareholders. So winding up a company is the process whereby its life is ended and the property administered for the benefit of the creditor and members who have given credit to the company, and lastly to the members. An administrator called liquidator is appointed and he takes control of the company. A liquidator will be appointed and he will take care of the companies. Winding of liquidation is the process by which the management of a company's affair is taken out of its director. So in that case, there won't be any director's role. Director's role, duty and responsibility taken over, snatched out, and it will be the liquidator who will be deciding the management. At the end of the winding of the company will have no asset or liabilities. Now, when the companies end, everything is all the properties, all the asset will be distributed among the like first to the creditors, then to the shareholders. After that, there won't be no liability, no asset. So, what are the different modes of winding up? A company may be wound up in any of the following two ways. What is that? By the tribunal making a winding up order, compulsory winding up. Tribunal will give an order for compulsory winding up order. Company Law Board Tribunal, that is called a Company Law Board. What do you understand by tribunal? Do you understand tribunal? Students?
Government body which is set up to look after the procedures.
Yeah, tribunal in the sense where the legal and administrator, both the bodies will be joining together and they will be settling the dispute. So in this case, tribunal means tribunal will be, in case of winding of the company, tribunal will issue the order.
Kind of court, you can say, no, sir.
Sorry?
It's a kind of court to settle.
Yeah, it's a kind of court where administrative, legally competent people and administrative competent people both will join together so that they can understand the matter properly and they can decide it. So by passing of in case of court, that is purely judicial persons, but in case of tribunal, it will be administrative and judicial both will join together. Next is by passing of an appropriate resolution for voluntarily winding up general meeting of members. In case of general meeting of members, so for volunteer winding of a company can be a resolution can be passed, because the members they found that it will not be possible to run further. They can pass a resolution in the meeting and they can wind up the company. So these are the various mode of winding of a company. Next, we'll be discussing about, if there is no doubt, then company law. With this, we'll stop. We'll go further about the Factory Act. Shall we proceed?
Yes, sir.
I will request to all of you to kindly go through the study material. Tomorrow is the last class. So if any doubts, anything you are not able to understand or something you want to discuss, so we can do that. Unless you go through the study material, it will be difficult for you to understand that what is the doubt. Next is unit 50. This is the last unit. In this, we have Factory Act, we have Industrial Dispute Act, we have Minimum Wages Act, and we have Workmen's Compensation Act. There is three. These are the three small acts are there. So let us go to the Factory Act first. What are the objectives of the act? Why Factory Act is incorporated? The objective of the Factory Act 1948 is to improve health, welfare, and safety of the workmen. The first objective is to improve health, welfare, and safety of the workmen. And secondly, to regulate by imposing restriction as to hours of work. What is to be done? To regulate the restriction of the hours of work, including rest and provision for availing of leave. So what is the rest hours, when they can avail leave, all this to be regulated. To make stringent provision as regards employment of women and young persons and duration of their work. Sometimes some young women, they were working in the factories and there is no provision. So proper facilities. To make stringent provision for them, it is Factory Act is made. And young persons and duration of their work. Some young person, they are working, so for their health hazardous condition, if it is there, then it will be difficult for them to monitor all those things. It is mentioned. And duration of their work, how long a person can work in a day. So that is fixed. So this is to stop the exploitation of the worker. This Factory Act is implemented. So where you can discuss about the health, welfare, safety of the workmen, imposing of the restriction of work hours. So continuously they cannot work continuously. So you cannot impose them to work more than stipulated hours. Stringent provision regarding to employment of women and young. These are the few objectives of the Act. So meaning of the term factory. What do you understand by factory? Factory means any premises including the persistent precincts, therefore, where 10 or more workers are working, where 10 or more workers are working or were working on any day, 10 or more workers are working or were working on any day of the preceding 12 months, and any part of which a manufacturing process is being carried on with the aid of power or is ordinarily so carried on, can be called as factory. What is the provision which will be called as factory? Where 10 or more workers, more than 10 or more than 10 are working or were working, or previously they were working on any day, previously any day of the preceding 12 months, any day 10 or more workers are working, and any part of which a manufacturing process is being carried out. In that part, manufacturing process should be carried out. What is that? Manufacturing process is being carried out with the aid of power, or is ordinarily so called on. If with the aid of power, then 10% to be where they are working in any day of the preceding 12 months can be called as factory. Another condition you can see, whereon 20 or more workers, where 20 or more workers are working or were working on any day of the preceding 12 months. Here 10 or more workers, in this case 20 or more workers are working or were working in any day of the preceding 12 months, and any part of which manufacturing process is being carried out without the aid of power. There it was with the aid of power. Here without the aid of power. is carried out, then it will be called as like a banking company. So where 12 or more workers are working without the aid of power. Here, in case of 10 workers, where big machineries or manufacturing process is going on, in that case, with the aid of power, 10 members can be constitute a company, factory. Next, what are the procedures for getting license for the factory? The state government may make rules regarding the submission of plans and approval, licensing, registration of factory. State government, it is the duty of the state government to issue the plans for making a factory. The site chosen to locate the factory must have the previous permission in writing of the state government of chief inspector of factories. Before making a factory, what you need to do? You must have the permission in writing by the state government of chief of the inspector of the factories. From him, from the chief of the inspector of factories, you need to procure a certificate, permission that you can make a company, factory. Such permission will be granted to applicant unless he had duly complied with the direction of the government. It should be done under the direction of the government, and as per that, you need to apply, and your application will be granted for making a factory. Every application must be duly accompanied with a certificate plan. You need to have a plan, what you are going to do in that factory and what are the manufacturing process you are going to. That plan has to be submitted, showing all the details together with the challans, representing the fee payable for such registration. If you need to pay the registration fee, stipulated amount you need to pay, and licensing or renewal of licenses. So if it is for licensing, you need to pay different amount. For renewal of licenses, whatever payment is there, you need to make a payment and make a challan, and it is to be attached with the application. If permission is not granted either by the state government or the chief inspector of factory within 3 months from the date of submission of such application, permission is presumed to have been granted. If you have applied with all the documents, and if you are not getting response from the state government of the chief inspector within 3 months, it is presumed that you have been granted permission. So on the refusal of the state government to the grant permission within 3 months, if you are getting the refusal, the aggrieved applicant can perform an appeal within the 30 days from the date of refusal. Within 30 days, you can make an appeal to the state government. So there is if it is within 3 months, if you are not getting any response, that means it is understood that you have been granted. If you are getting refusal, then in that case, what are the shortfalls are there, you need to fulfill that one. After that, you need to apply within 30 days. You need to apply for. You can appeal. Every order refusing to grant permission or license must be speaking order. Order is an order passed after hearing both the sides, and it is passed with a reason stated. They will be simply, they cannot deny your permission. They will be discussing with you. Based on the discussion, they will mention the reason why it is denied. So license or permission cannot be denied merely on the direction by the government without hearing the applicant. They will give chance the applicant to fulfill the shortfalls, and without that, it cannot be denied by the direction of the government. That means chances are to be given to the license to the applicant. So these are the procedure for getting license. Then notice period. The occupier must give 15 days notice to the state government or chief inspector of factory before begins to occupy or use any premises as a factory. What he need to do before occupying or before starting the business, 15 days notice. Before 15 days, he must be given notice to the state government of chief inspector of factories that we are going to start our business. It is essential to intimate by notice the inspector with a copy addressed to the chief inspector of the factories if any new person is appointed as a manager in a factory. Suppose You have got the license, you have started your business. If you have changed the manager, then in that case, the new manager's name, details, all this you have to intimate to the inspector of the factory. Intimate by notice of the inspector with a copy addressed to the chief inspector of the factories. You need to notify him that our so and so manager, new manager has been appointed. So penalty for obstructing inspector. So chief inspector, what they do, they inspect the factory, that whether all the provisions are, mandatory provisions are followed or not. In that case, there is a penalty if you are obstructing him to inspect the factory. What is the penalty? When a factory inspector is prevented or obstructed from exercising his powers, such person shall be punished with the imprisonment of 6 months or a fine up to rupees 10,000 or with both. If you are not allowing the inspector to inspect your factory, in that case, you will be punished with imprisonment for 6 months or a fine up to rupees or both can be implemented. Similarly, certifying surgeon. With the approval of the state government, a certifying surgeon may be authorized and qualified medical practitioner to exercise any of the powers used by him. Authorized surgeons has to be appointed by the state government. Now, different measures. What are the measures? Health, safety, and welfare measures, which the company has to follow. First is cleanliness. You need to maintain the cleanliness in the factory. So that is mentioned in detail in section 1, and even you can go through your study material for detail office cleanliness. Then second is disposal of waste and effluents. Properly, you have to dispose the waste and effluents so that it will not cause difficulties from the local people. So proper disposal has to be made. And in section 12, it is detailed, it is being given that how to dispose and what is the procedure. Dust and fumes. To clear the dust and fumes, there must be provision so that it will not cause any hazardous effect to the workers who are working in the factory.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes?
When we write all these things,
Yeah.
do we also need to mention the section?
No need, no need. No need to mention section, just you can write the points. Cleanliness, what is cleanliness? You need to explain 2-3 lines. Similar disposal of waste and effluent, dust and fumes, ventilation and temperature. Ventilation, proper ventilation has to be maintained in the factory, and temperature control, because with high temperature nowadays you can see that 43 degree, 40 to 43 degree temperature. Yesterday, Chennai, it was 43 degree temperature. In that condition, it will be very difficult for the workers to work. So you need to control the temperature. For that, cooling procedure has to be provided, like cooler or something like that. It is way, and there has to be proper ventilation. Next is artificial humidification. So to control the humidity, so artificial humidification has to be planted. Similarly, overcrowding. There is a minimum standard is given per individual. How much square feet is required? It is to be as per that. You need to follow that how many number of people are working. Based on that, you have to provide the space. Similarly, lighting. Proper lighting facility has to be maintained. That if it is light is not proper, it will be difficult for the workers to work, and it may cause the health hazard for the workers. Similarly, drinking water facility. You need to provide the drinking water, and wherever the drinking water is there, you need to put a clear-cut arrow mark that drinking water is provided here, so that workers can go and drink water. Latrines and urinals. So proper latrines and urinals to be maintained, so that for the when workers can use those comfortably. Spittoons. Spittoons has to be there, so unnecessarily people will not spit here and there. So proper spittoons. These are the, as per the different section in the section 11 to 20, they have mentioned the health issues of the factory. You need to take care of for these things. And for inspecting all these things, inspector, they used to come and visit to the factory whether all these provisions are followed or not. Similarly, safety measures, 21 to 40 section, they have mentioned about the safety measures. Safety is a prior to security. According to this concept, the present Factory Act ensures several safety measures as sound in section 22, which are this, like fencing of machineries. Where dangerous machinery is working, it is hazardous to come in front of the machinery. It will cause accident. So in that case, proper fencing has to be mentioned. Work on or near machinery in motion. If the machinery is in motion, people are working. So clear that demarcation has to be made. Some places you must have seen that red zone, yellow zone, so paint, they are painting that. So beyond that, people should not move. So proper instruction has to be given there. Proper demarcation and board is to be fitted where that they can understand that machine is in motion. Employment of young person and dangerous machine. It will be when there is a dangerous machine, it will be causing difficulties to the young person. So you need not to employ young person on dangerous machine. And while employing people in the dangerous machine, they should be properly trained and to be employed. Self-acting machines. Some machines were self-acting, like lifting, automatically it will be lifting. In this case, there are the provision how to monitor those self-acting machine. It is provided in section 25. I am not going to the details because it will take long time. Casing of new machineries. How to case in new machinery. If new machine is there, how to case it for its protection. It is mentioned in section 26. Provision of employment of women and children near cotton openers. While cotton openers are there should not be women and children are not to be employed because it is causing harm to this people much. Hoist and lift. There is to be where heavy machineries are too heavy. In that case, lift have to be there so that properly easily you can lift the machineries or the product. Lifting machines, chains and ropes and lifting tackles. It is also provided in section 29 in detail. Lifting machine has to be there where the heavy items is to be lifted. There must be a chain so that easily it can be pulled, and ropes are for lifting the tackles. A revolving machine, where there is a revolving machine, in that case, proper provision has to be, safety measure has to be taken care. These are all about your safety measures. Similarly, welfare measures, welfare of workers. Section 44 to 49, it talks about the welfare measure of the workers. Sitting facilities. In factory, there must be proper sitting facility. Continuously, they cannot stand and work. So there must be resting and sitting facility has to be provided. Similarly, first aid appliances. You need to have first aid appliances in case of any small injuries. So proper treatment, proper first aid can be given to the worker. Similarly, canteen facility where more than 25 or 50 people are working, then canteen facilities are to be provided to them. Shelter restrooms and lunchroom. There has to be a shelter for taking shelter, a restroom for the workers, and lunchroom for taking lunch are to be provided. Creches where the women workers are working for their small kids, there must be creches so that they can comfortably they can work without any tension. So creches has to be provided. Welfare officers, there has to be one welfare officer for taking care of welfare of the workers. So what is the working hours then? Weekly hours. No adult worker shall be required or allowed to work in a factory for more than 48 hours in a week. No worker should be allowed to work more than 48 hours in a week. At present, it is reduced to 40 hours. Now it has been reduced to 40 hours. So maximum 40 hours to be allotted to a worker in a week. Daily hours. What is the provision of daily hours? No adult worker shall be required or allowed to work in a factory for more than 9 hours in a day. In a week, it is 40 hours. But in a day, it should not be more than 9 hours. However, to facilitate the change of shift, the limit may be exceeded, subjected to the previous approval of the chief inspector of the factory. Suppose for the shift duty, if you are changing 9 to 12 hours, like two people, 2 person they are doing duty, one morning to evening, another evening to next morning. Then in that case, if it is more than 9 hours, you need to take permission from the chief inspector of factory that due to shift hours, we are making it 12 hours per individual. These are the three measures, and definitely one of the measures will come in the examination, like either it can be health measure, safety measure, welfare. It is important. 99% this type of question comes. So you must go through that one through your study material. Next is tomorrow we are going to discuss about the industrial dispute act, minimum wages act, employee compensation act. These three acts we will discuss tomorrow, and if anything is left over, we'll revise, and any question answers are there, we'll discuss. Okay. Till now, any doubt or any clarification you have, or any questions? Are you able to understand? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is very lucid
Yes, sir.
flow. It is good.
Yeah, it is simple. So just once again, you go through the study material. Like factory act, what is the objective of the factory? Why it is implemented? Then what are the provision? With add up forward, more than 10 people are working in any day or any previous within the 12 months. Some machinery work is going on. Similarly, without add up power, 20 members. Then what is the licensing? How you'll get the license? Then what is the role of the inspector of the factory? Then what are the provisions? These are the different provisions: health provision, safety provision, welfare provision you need to discuss. So with this, factory act is over. We'll be discussing tomorrow industrial dispute act. Again, it is one of the important and very interesting act also. Industrial dispute act. Then we'll be discussing minimum wages act. Then workman compensation. That's all. These are the. With this, we'll be completing. Okay. If anything is there, or we'll end up the class. Any questions? Any clarification?
No, sir. No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Shall we wind up?
Right. So just one question before you leave. Once these sessions are over, I guess the PPTs would be downloaded onto the portal, right?
Portal, I do not know whether there is a space there or not. Or else tomorrow you can ask me, you can send your email ID. I will share my email ID in chat box. You can put a request. So I will, with that email ID, I'll send the PPT. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
And among yourself, you can share. Okay.
Sure.
All the persons I cannot send. A few of you can send your email IDs, so I can share with you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Then you can share with your friends. Okay. See you tomorrow then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, all of you. Hello. Hello, good afternoon, all of you.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Good afternoon. Last class, what we have learned, do you remember? Last class, what we
Ratios, ratio analysis, madam. Can you slide is to be adjusted properly, madam?
slide?
Needs to be adjusted properly.
Ratios we have completed, huh? Ratio we have completed, huh?
Last one is there, madam. One.
Break-even point.
Yes. Marginal costing we taught, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Class video. Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Last class,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
we have completed. Totally all marginal costing we have completed, right? Ratio analysis, fund flow, cash flow completed, huh? All 4 units we have completed, huh? I think so. Okay, let us see cost sheet and variance analysis. Last unit, cost sheet and variance analysis. Let us see. Cost sheet, that is cost accounting, which we are preparing for ascertainment of costing and then price fixation, and then cost accounting. It is applications of accounting which is using for and following various techniques and principles methods for ascertainment of cost. So we need, it is very essential for preparation of ascertainment of cost to fix the selling price, right? So this cost accounting, the cost, various costs which incurred for producing the products. So mainly we used to say material, labor and other expenditures. That material may be direct or indirect. Some mostly direct material will be there, that is raw material. Raw material we used to say it as a direct material. Labor, direct labor, those who are producing products directly, you are paying wages based upon the number of units produced, that is direct labor. And then other expenditure, direct expenditure which we are using for incurring for payment of your production, right? So that is called expenditure. These are the elements of cost. Elements of cost, that is called material, labor and expenditure. In that indirect, direct material, direct labor, direct expenditure, if you add these 3 costs is called prime cost. And other indirect material, indirect labor and indirect overheads that we can classify into production overhead, administration overhead, sales overhead and distribution overheads. So these are all these elements of cost, right? I have given here under various classifications. Let us see cost sheet. This is the format of cost sheet. Cost sheet, there is various breakups. That is direct material. Direct material means what? That is what is the material used or consumed for the production. That is called direct material. That how to calculate opening stock of raw material plus purchases of raw material, add carriage inwards of raw material minus closing stock of raw material. That is called material consumed or direct material used for the production. So direct material used for the production, you have to how to calculate opening stock of raw material plus purchases and add carriage inwards if it is given, you have to add and deduct the closing stock. So that is called direct material or material consumed for the production. Then direct labor and direct expenditure. Direct material, direct labor and direct expenditure. If you add these three items, that is called prime cost. Prime cost plus other factory overheads. Factory overheads means in factory what are the expenses? Your supervisor salary, rent, rates and taxation, and what are the other expenditure you are incurring in the factory, other indirect expenditure in the factory. If you are adding, that is called works cost. Works cost plus office and administration. In office stationery expenditure, manager salary, and then telephone expenditure. So all these office and administration expenditure, if you are adding, that is called cost of production. Cost of production plus selling and distribution overheads, if you are adding, that is called cost of sales. Right? Just to go through a few minutes. Let us do one problem. You can understand, see this problem. Prepare a cost sheet of the following data relating to the manufacturing of jeans. This is the expenditures are given. Include a profit margin of 20% on the total cost of goods is expected on the sales of jeans. So this is the cost sheet format. Number of jeans manufactured during the month, it is given 1000 units. So per unit cost also we need to calculate. Right? Prepare cost sheet per unit also they are asking. Right? Direct material consumed, it is given 20,000 for 1000 units. 20,000 plus direct labor, it is 8,000 it is given. So totally 28,000 for 1000 units. So what for per unit cost? 28,000 divided by 1000 units, that is per unit cost is 28 rupees. Then this is called prime cost. Direct material, direct labor, direct expenditure is not given in this problem. If it is given, you have to add. Okay. So prime cost plus factory overheads or works overheads. That what are all the items are given? That is indirect labor in factory. That you have to add. Supervisor cost in factory. Then factory premises rent, factory lighting, oil for machines, depreciation of machinery. So all these items are factory overheads you have to add. So total factory overheads, it is 6,300 divided by 1000 per unit cost is 6 rupees 30 paise. So total works cost, prime cost plus works or factory overheads, if you are adding, that is called works cost. Works cost is 34,300. Add office and administration overheads. So office overhead, it is given 8,000. Office salary, it is given 2,000. Then other miscellaneous office expenditure 1,000. So totally it is 11,000. So if you are adding works cost plus office and administration overhead, that is called cost of production. So cost of production, if you are adding all these things, that is called works cost plus office and administration expenditure, it is called cost of production. Cost of production plus selling and distribution overhead, if you are adding selling and distribution overhead, it is 6,000. So that is called cost of goods sold or total cost. We can say it is a total cost or cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold or total cost, it is 51,300. If you are adding some profit, some percentage, that is called sales. They are saying 20% on the total cost. So total cost is 51,300 into 20 by 100, that is 10,260. This is the total cost. Profit, some percentage if you are adding, that is sales value. Sometimes sales will be, value will be given, you have to find out what is the profit, right? Depends upon the problem. See next one. See the next problem. Stock of raw material on 1st September 2013, 75,000. Stock of raw material on 30th September, 91,500. Direct wages 52,500, indirect wages 2,750, sales 2 lakhs. These are the items are given, right? So here additional information, what are all the given? Work in progress, opening stock, work in progress, closing stock are given, right? So let us prepare the cost sheet. Opening stock of raw material, that is 75,000 plus purchases made during the year. See here, purchases of raw material 66,000 is given, plus expenditure on purchases is given 1,500. Carriage inwards or expenditure on purchases, you have to add it. Carriage outward, it is a selling and distribution expenditure, not here. Okay, so if you are adding all these things, that is minus closing stock of raw material, if you are deducting, that is direct material or material consumed for the production, it is 51,000, right? Direct wages are given 52,500. So direct material and direct wages, suppose the direct overheads are given, you have to add it, direct expenditure. That is called prime cost. Prime cost plus all other factory overheads or factory expenditure. This work in progress means what? Semi-finished. In factory, some percentage may be finished, some percentage it is unfinished. That is called work in progress. So opening work in progress, you have to add, deduct the closing work in progress, right? So opening work in progress plus all factory overheads, if you are adding, deduct the closing work in progress and adjust with this prime cost, that is called works cost. Okay. Works cost plus office and administration overheads, what are the things are given? See here, office rent and taxes 2,500, only one item are given. If you are adding, that is called cost of production. After finding the cost of production, if you are adding opening stock of finished goods, see here, opening stock of finished goods is given 54,000 and closing stock of finished goods 31,000. So opening stock of finished goods, if you are adding, deducting the closing stock of finished goods, that is called cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold plus.
Madam, please.
Yes.
Madam,
Yes.
basically we are I'm engineering graduate. I'm good knowledge about the accounts, but just you speedily going, madam. I'm not able to understand.
Because we have only 8 hours. This is the last week of class. Didn't you attended previous classes?
Yeah, I attended all the classes, but I don't understand any chapter. You read on speedily, then I'm not a background of accounts.
I understand that, but no other go. We have to complete the syllabus. Total syllabus we have to complete. That is within short time. I am explaining.
50% also I want to know now, madam.
That is why I am explaining each chapter one problem. I am preparing and explaining you how it would be. So you have to practice it, and then if it is possible, nearby any accounts teacher is there, you can go in personal tuition. That is your wish. Okay. So in 8 hours, what is maximum possible we can explain. I am explaining to you. Right?
Okay.
One unit, if I am explaining, it will take 1 month also. Even non-accounting student, I understand. Even basic things we used to teach in regular classes, 1 month, 2 months. These all the chapters, fund flow, cash flow, ratio analysis, everything it is required 1 month, 2 months. But within 1 hour, 2 hour, how it would be to be completed. So I have to, it is my duty to explain each and every aspect. That is why no other go, I have to go in quickly. That is why. Okay.
Okay.
This is while preparing this cost sheet. This is the format I explained you. This is the problem. Step by step, how we have to add. So works cost plus office and administration expenses, if you are adding, that is called cost of production. So cost of production plus opening stock of finished goods. See here, this is opening stock of finished goods minus closing stock of finished goods. If you are adjusting, that is called cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold plus selling and distribution overheads. If you are adding all selling and distribution expenditure, carriage outward, advertising, salesman salary, travelers wages and commission, selling and distribution. So all these expenditure comes under selling and distribution overheads. If you are adding all these things, that is called cost of sales. Cost of sales, then plus some, add some profit. Sales are given. See here, sales 2 lakhs are given. So this is the total cost of sales. So what is the profit? That is the answer, 44,250. This is the method of cost sheet, preparation of method of cost sheet. Right? The next one, let us see standard costing and variance analysis. What is standard costing? Standard costing is a predetermined cost. Predetermined cost, that is what we say, estimation, budgeting. So you are making estimation, you are going to produce 1,000 units this month. So how much expenditure, how much required for material, how much required for labor, how much required for overheads. So you are, when you are estimating that, you have to compare with the actual expenditure incurred. So why to compare? Cost control. So when you are comparing with the estimation, that is budgeting, that is that you have to compare with that. So is there any deviations of the expenditure what you have incurred? So then only you can find out what is the variances, whether is it favorable or adverse. Suppose if it is adverse variances, you have to take various steps to control that expenditure. That is managerial decision making. So this standard costing we are using as a tool or technique of cost controlling system, right? So variance analysis, we can use material variance, labor variance, and then variable overheads variance, fixed overheads variance, sales variance. These are the 5 types of variances are there. According to your syllabus, we can do only 2 variances, that is material variance and labor variances. Let us do some problems. In your syllabus, it is there, right? Under the material variances, there are various formulas, that is material cost variance, material price variance, material usage variance, material yield variance, right? So material cost variance formula, material cost variance is equal to standard cost minus actual cost. Standard cost, SC means standard cost minus actual cost. Or we can say the standard cost means how to calculate standard quantity into standard price. That is, standard quantity is based on actual output, that we have to calculate, right? Standard quantity into standard price minus actual quantity into actual price. Material price variance formula, standard price minus actual price into actual quantity. Then material usage variance. Material usage variance formula, standard price into standard quantity minus actual quantity. Material yield variance formula, standard rate into actual yield minus standard yield. Then material mix variance. Material mix variance, there are 2 formulas. When the weightage, mix means what? If you are having using 2-3 types of raw material. So when you are using mix variance, so the total weightage, if it is uniform, the formula it is standard price into standard quantity minus actual quantity. Suppose that weightage of standard and actual it is different, so you have to calculate revised standard quantity. So in that case, formula is standard price into revised standard quantity minus actual quantity. These are the formulas. Let us do one problem, you can understand. See here, a manufacturing concern which has adopted a standard costing furnished with the following information. That is standard material for 70 kg finished product, that is 100 kg of raw material required, and the price of material is rupee 1 per kg. So that means what? If you are standard material for 70 kg of finished product, if you are producing 70 kg of finished output, you are required 100 kg of raw material, right? So that is the standard. Actual output, it is given 2,10,000 kg material you have used. Output is 2,10,000 kg. Material used for the production of producing output of 2,10,000 kg. Raw material used is 2,80,000 kg. Cost of material is this actual cost is given, right? Let us first we have to calculate what is the standard quantity based on actual output. Standard quantity based on actual output means what? This 70 kg of finished product, if you are producing, how much it is required? 100 kg of raw material is required, right? So 70 kg of output if you are producing, how many input are required? 100 kg of raw material is required. So in that case, what is the actual price per unit? That is actual total cost is given 2,52,000. Actual total material it is given 2,80,000 kg. So actual price per kg is 90 paise. This is preliminary workings. Let us do the formula. You have to thorough about the formula, then only we can do. First, material usage variance. Material usage variance, what is the formula? Standard rate into standard quantity for actual output minus standard quantity. That is standard rate is 1 rupee. That is 100 kg. 1 rupee it is given in your problem. 1 rupee. Standard quantity, standard rate is 1 rupee. Standard quantity based on actual output we have calculated here 3 lakhs minus actual quantity it is given 2,80,000 kg, right? So actual it is lesser, standard is greater, 20,000 into 1 rupee, that is 20,000. Is it favorable or adverse? Actual material you have used for production, it is lower, so it is favorable. Okay, then material price variance. Material price variance, what is the formula? Actual quantity into standard price minus actual price. Actual quantity is 2,80,000 into actual standard price is 1 rupee minus actual price is 90 paise. So actual price is lower than your standard price, so it is favorable. 10 paise into 2,80,000, that is 28,000 favorable. Material cost variance, what is the formula? Standard cost minus actual cost. What is standard cost? Standard quantity based on actual output into standard rate minus actual quantity into actual rate. So standard quantity based on your actual output, that is 3 lakhs we have calculated here, into 1 rupee, that is 3 lakhs for standard cost. Actual cost is 2,80,000 into 90 paise. So actual cost is 2,52,000. So actual cost is lesser than your standard cost. So it is favorable, 48,000 favorable. So what is the formula? That you can verify whether your answer is correct or not. So how do you verify? Material cost variance is equal to, material cost variance is due to price variance and usage variance. What is your price variance? Price variance is 28,000 favorable plus cost variance we have calculated 48,000 favorable is equal to price variance is 28,000 favorable, usage variance is 20,000 favorable. So totally it is 40,000 favorable. Both the sides, that is your cost variance is due to price variance and usage variance. Do you understand this? Do you understand this problem? Material cost variance. Let us do another problem for calculation of other mix variance and yield variance, right? See here, the standard mix to produce 1 unit of product is given. Material A, B, C. 3 types of material you are using for production. That is, material A is required 60 units. Cost per unit is 15 per unit. So totally it is 9,000. Here on 0 is missing. into 15. 900 now. It's 900. Material B, 80 units into 20 rupees, that is 1,600. Material C, 100 units into 25 rupees, that is 2,500. So total, if you are producing 1 unit of output, what is the standard material is required? 240 units are required. Total material of ABC. This total cost is 5,000. Okay. What is the actual? This is the actual is given in your problem. Actual during the month of April, 10 units were actually produced and consumption were as follows. Actual units you have produced 10 units. Material A, how much you have used? 640 units. Material B, 950 units. Material C, 870 units you have used. Okay, per unit cost of material A, B, C are given. This is the total actual cost are given, right? So now workings we have to prepare. What is the standard cost for based on actual output? Standard cost based on actual output, how you have to calculate? Actual output is 10 units. 1 unit is cost is 240 units, right? So what for material A is required for producing 10 units. 1 unit it is 60 units. For 10 units if you are producing, multiply by 10. So 60 into 10, 600 quantity are required. 600 units are required material A. Similarly, material B, 80 into 10 units. Actual output is 10 units. Okay. So 80 into 10, 800 units. 100 into 10 units, 1000 units. The standard rate, you apply it. What is the total cost? This is the standard cost. Standard cost totally it is 50,000. Actual cost, it is given in the problem itself, it is 52,225, right? So let us calculate first one, material cost variance. Material cost variance, what is the formula? Standard cost minus actual cost. Standard cost means standard quantity based on actual output into standard rate. Standard quantity based on actual output, we have calculated here, standard cost is 50,000. So 50,000 minus actual cost is 52,225, right? So material cost variance, it is actual is greater. Is it favorable or adverse? Actual cost is greater than your standard, what you have estimated. Is it favorable or adverse?
Adverse.
Adverse. It is a minus. Okay, adverse. So material cost variance 2,225 adverse. Next one, material price variance. Material price variance, what is the formula? Standard price minus actual price into actual quantity. Standard price is 15 rupees. Material A, standard price here, it is given here 15, 20, 25. Actual price is 1750, 18, 22, sorry, 2750. Actual quantity we have, it is given here 640, 950, 870. So, right? So if you are calculating material price variance for A, 1600. Material actual price is A greater than your actual. Okay. Sorry, actual is greater than your standard. So it is adverse. Material B, actual is lower than your standard. So it is favorable. Then third one is actual is greater than your standard. So it is adverse. So what is the net effect? Material A is adverse. A and C are adverse. Only B is favorable. So adverse is 2,175 plus 1,600 you add it. deduct the 1900. So net effect for material price variance is 1875 adverse. Okay. Do you understand this material price variance? Then material usage variance. Material usage variance, what is the formula? Standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard price. Standard quantity we have calculated here 600 or 800, 1000. Actual quantity it is 640, 950, 870. Into a standard price you have to calculate. So here actual quantity is greater, so adverse. So here actual quantity in B is also greater and C is lower. So only C is favorable, other two are adverse. So net effect is 350 adverse, right? You can verify this material variances. Material cost variance is equal to price variance plus usage variance. Material cost variance is 2225 adverse is equivalent to material price variance is 1875 adverse plus 350 adverse. So if you are adding these two, you will get 2225 adverse. So this is the material variances. Just you go through, few minutes I will come back. Yes, Harisankar, what do you want? Hello. Hello. Do you have any doubt in this? Material cost variance, price variance, and usage variance.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then in the same problem, we have this is different types of three types of material. So there is a mix variance possibilities are there. So let us calculate material mix variance and then material yield variance, right? So material mix variance, you see the total weightage of standard is 240, right? See here, actual output total is 2004. For 10 units it is 2460 units. See here, 2400 units. So the weightage is different, not uniform, right? So 2400 here, 2400, no need of revised standard quantity. We can use as it is, we can apply. So here there is different weightage. If it is there, we have to calculate revised standard quantity. So revised standard quantity formula is total weight of actual mix into standard material divided by waste of total weight of standard mix. Total weight of standard mix is 2400. Total weight of standard mix is 2400 into that individual material. A is how much we have calculated, that is required 600. So 2400 total mix, A is 600. What for 2460? That is the revised standard material, right? Revised standard material is 615. For material B, 2400 into 800. What for 2460, right? Similarly, material C is 1000 units. So 2400 into 1000, sorry, for 2400 it is 1000. But for 2460, that is 1025 is the revised standard quantity. Formula for material mix variance is revised standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard price. Revised standard quantity, this is the units we have calculated for material A, B and C, minus actual quantity is 640, 950, 870. So into standard price, if we are calculating, this is called, see here, actual quantity, it is greater than revised standard, so it is adverse. Actual quantity is greater than revised, that is adverse. Here actual quantity is lower than your revised standard, so it is favorable. So net effect of material mix variance is 900 favorable. Okay. Similarly, you have to calculate material yield variance. Material yield variance formula, actual yield minus standard yield into standard output price. Actual yield, it is given in your problem, that is 10 units, actual yield. Minus standard yield, we do not know. How much will be the standard yield? Standard yield you have to calculate based on actual input you have used. Actual input is 2460 units. Okay. For 1 unit of output, how much you are required? 440 units, right? So 2460 2460 divided by 240 units. That is the standard yield. Actual quantity what you have used for production, that is 2460 units, right? So what is the standard yield per unit? Standard yield per unit is 240 units. So how much yield it should be based upon actual input you have used for the production. So what is your actual output should be? It should be 10.25 units, right? So 2006, see here, 2460 divided by 240 units. This 5000 how you got, sorry, 10.25 how you got it, that is workings. Standard yield is equal to actual material, actual total material divided by material or 1 unit. Understand this? So that means 2460 divided by 240 is equal to 10.25 units yield. So if you are using 2460 units for actual units you have consumed for production, per unit standard is 240 kg. So how much it would be? So 10.25 into standard yield rate. Standard yield rate, that is 5000. That is 5000. It is here we have calculated 50,000. That is the standard total cost is 50,000. For how many units? 10 units. So for 1 unit is how much? 50,000 divided by 10 units. That is 5,000 rupees. Okay, this 5,000. How you got it? Total standard cost divided by standard output. Standard output is 50,000 for 10 units. So what for 1 unit? That is 5,000. Right? So it is adverse. Your standard yield, actual yield lower. So it is adverse. While comparing with the standard yield, actual yield is lower. So it is adverse. Right? So this also you can do verification. Material cost variance is equal to material price variance plus mix variance plus material yield variance. That means material usage variance is due to mix variance and yield variance, right? So material cost variance here we have calculated 2,225 adverse is equal to price variance we have already calculated, that is 1,875 adverse plus this usage variance is totally 350 adverse. So this if you are taking mix variance and yield variance, what is the net effect? 1,250 minus 900. So 350 adverse. Usage variance is due to mix variance and yield variance. You understand this? Do you understand, all of you?
Yes.
Can we go for next one?
Okay, ma'am.
This is material variances. The next one, labor variances. Labor variances also similar to this material variances. There you are calculating unit. Here labor hour. Instead of quantity, here labor hour you have to take. There price per unit you are calculating for material. Here wages rate per hour. Rate per hour. These remaining formulas are same. You have to apply rate and hour. Okay. So let us see. Labor cost variance is equal to standard cost minus actual cost. The standard cost is based upon the actual hours worked. We have to calculate standard hours based on actual hours, actual output, right? So standard rate into actual output. Labor rate variance is equal to same thing, actual hour into standard rate minus actual rate. Labor efficiency variance, that is in material variance, it is we used to call it as usage variance. There it is usage, here it is efficiency. That is labor efficiency variance is equal to standard rate into standard hour minus effective actual hour. What is effective actual hour? Sometimes idle time may be there due to current failure, power failure, or machine repair. Due to that is called idle hour, right? So you have to take eliminate that idle hour. Only effective actual hour you have to calculate for labor efficiency variance. For idle time variance, you have to calculate separately. That is, idle time variance is equal to idle hour, number of hours idle due to power failure or breakdown. So into standard rate, that you have to calculate separately. Only this one is different. Then labor mix variance and yield variance similar to the material variance. Here 3-4 types of labors will be there. Say skilled labor, semi-skilled labor, unskilled labor, like that. So if there is 3 types of labors are there, you have to calculate what is the mix variance. Similarly, yield variance you have to calculate. Let us see one problem. You can understand. See this problem. Type of workers A and B. 30, 20 hours are required. Rate per hour. This is standard. Standard direct labor cost is rupees 220 per unit, whose manufacturer involves. So 1 unit of output, if you want to produce, standard hour for A worker is 30 hour, B worker is 20 hour. Rate is this much, 120 rupees. Total cost, standard cost for producing 1 unit of output. Do you understand? 1 unit of output, if you produce, what is the standard cost? 120. Actual cost for A and B, it is given 100 units they are actually producing. For 100 units, if they are producing, A required hours is this 3,200 hours. Rate is actual rate. This is the actual cost. Okay. So now we have to calculate some workings before applying the formula. What is the standard hour based on actual output? That we have to calculate. How actual output is how many? 100 units. For 1 unit, 30 hours are required. For 100 unit, how many hours are required? 30 into 100, 3000 hours. 20 into 100, that is 2000 hours. That is standard cost. Standard for cost for 100 units we have to calculate. Actual cost, it is given in the problem for 100 units. Right? So let us apply the formula. Standard labor cost variance is equal to standard cost minus actual cost. Standard cost is based on actual output, that is 12,000 minus 12,400. So actual cost is greater, so it is adverse. Labor rate variance. Labor rate variance formula, standard rate minus actual rate into actual hour. Okay, so standard rate is 2 rupee, 3 rupee. Actual hour is 150. Actual rate 150, 4 rupee. Actual hour is 3,200, 1,900. So actual rate in A, it is lesser, so favorable. B is greater, so adverse. So net effect is 300 adverse. Labor efficiency variance. Labor efficiency variance, in this case, there is no breakdown or power failure is not given. So let us take all hours are efficient hours. Right? So standard hour is 3,000, 2,000, 3,200, 1,900. So you have to calculate what is the labor efficiency variance. Actual hour, it is greater in A, so it is adverse. Actual hour, it is for B, it is lower, so it is favorable. So net effect 100 adverse. Labor material variance, mix variance. Mix variance, the weightage is different. See, 5,000 labor hours. Here actual labor hours total weightage is 5,100. When this total weightage of actual and standards are different, you have to calculate revised standard hour. Revised standard hour, what you have to calculate? Total actual standard hour, that is 5,000 hours, it is 3,000. What for? 5,100. Okay, so 3,060 hours. For B is 2,040 hours. So revised standard hour minus actual hour, you have to calculate. What is the actual hour is greater in A, so it is adverse. B, it is lower, so it is favorable. Net effect is 140 favorable. You can verify this formula. That is cost variance is due to labor rate variance and efficiency variance. Cost variance 400 adverse is equal to rate variance 300 adverse plus 100 adverse. So totally 400 adverse. Instead of efficiency variance, you can use material variance is 140. Yield variance. Suppose if you are calculating yield variance, here yield, how can you calculate? Yes, yield variance based on actual hours, right? Actual output. Actual output, how many units? 100 units. Standard cost is 5,000. Actual hours are required 5,100 hours, right? 5,100 hours divided by 50 per unit of hours. Per unit, if you produce, what is the standard hour is required? 50. So 5,100 divided by 50. 5,100 divided by 50. So standard output should be 102. Yield variance. One second. Labor yield variance. No, ma'am. There were 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Labor yield variance is equal to standard cost standard labor cost per unit of output into standard output for actual hour minus actual output. Okay. Standard output for actual hour. Standard output for standard rate or standard rate per unit of output into standard hour based on standard yield based on actual input minus actual input, right? So now 5,100 divided by 50. So actual standard yield based on actual output is 102 minus actual output is 100, right? So what is the labor standard rate per unit is 120. Per unit is 120. So now you calculate 240. 240 is adverse or favorable? Actual output is lower, so it is adverse. Okay. So see here, material efficiency variance is how much? 100 favorable, right? See here, material efficiency variance is 100 adverse is equal to mix variance and yield variance. Mix variance 140 favorable. Here 240 adverse. So net effect is 100 adverse. When you are verifying this one, do you understand material yield variance? This is material yield variance. You understand? Okay, tomorrow, what are the chapters we have left out? I think some chapters may be left out. Fund flow, cash flow. Have you? We have done some problems in fund flow, cash flow statement.
Yes, ma'am.
We have done. Ratio analysis problems we have done.
No, ma'am.
We didn't do. Okay, tomorrow what is left out? You have to go through and tell me. We will complete it tomorrow. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Let us wind up.
Okay, thank you.